Ivo Dalder now, former U.S. ambassador to NATO during the Obama administration. Mr. Ambassador, President Biden called President Putin a war criminal yet again today. Of course, war crimes take a long time to prosecute. Does the world have a responsibility to do something between now and then, after all that we've seen in Bucha and all we're anticipating out of Mariupol?
Well, two things. First is to help in making sure that we have accountability, that we find the evidence as best as we can, to use the intelligence resources we have, the satellite reconnaissance and everything else, and make sure that we, as best as can make sure that the evidence that exists is available for war crimes prosecution thereafter. But as you say, that's a long-term prospect. So to immediately, I think, helping the Ukrainians fight this war as best they can, they clearly already in the first 6 weeks have done an extraordinary, heroic effort in keeping Kyiv and Odessa and other major cities out of Russian hands. The same is true in Kharkiv and in Mariupol, which has been bombed to almost nothing, but it's still being held by Ukrainian forces. It's now necessary to continue to flow in as many weapons as possible, perhaps increasing the kinds of weapons with a little longer range, tanks, artillery, multiple launch rocket systems, to take the fight against the Russians to the Russians. The Russians are regrouping in the east, as your report just showed, as Jake Sullivan said. We also got to make sure that they don't succeed there, just as they have failed around Kyiv.
Yeah, but you know, we've seen it in Bucha. We've seen these pictures of people carrying grocery bags shot and killed. We know that there's nothing to stop it in the east of Ukraine. After all, we saw it in Chechnya. We saw it in Syria. There are ways to stop him. Might the world step up and say we have to do something more extraordinary, more well, in the moment?
I mean, the next big step would be a direct military intervention by the United States and other NATO countries. That's a line that no one has been willing to cross so far. It doesn't sound to me that anybody in Europe or in the United States wants to cross that line. So unless we're willing to do that, and that's a major step, it means taking the fight against Russia into Ukraine. Russia is a nuclear power. It has capabilities that one has to take account of. If you do have a direct military confrontation between the United States and Russia, between NATO and Russia, so that's a big step to a big bridge to cross.
Yeah.
Before that, we can send more weapons, and we can continue to find ways for the Ukrainians who are fighting for their own country and frankly for the freedom not only of their own country but of the continent, to bring as much as we can of military capabilities, tanks, artillery, and UAVs, drones, and air defense systems, so that the route that we have seen over the last 6 weeks by the Ukrainians can continue, and that the Russians won't succeed even in the east.
Let's hope. Ivo Dalder, thanks very much. Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.